from a trade point of view, it just doesn't make any sense at all. So that, you know, our international audience are flabbergasted by what we're doing, particularly as it's a voluntary decision as well. Why would you leave you know, the Premiership of trade, which is undoubtedly the single market, to then trade on a less preferential set of terms in what would be the sort of first division? It doesn't make any sense.
I think that was Pascal Lamy's analogy, wasn't it, as well? The self-imposed relegation from Division 1 to Division 3. When do we begin to feel the ramifications of being in Division 3? How quickly after November the 1st could that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question, that. I mean, I think, you know, you've got to remember that Brexit's only the beginning of a very long road. You know, we need to, first of all, leave Europe, the Brexit piece, then negotiate a deal with Europe, and then start to negotiate deals with 120 countries to get up to the same level we currently are. No one has ever done that in history. Certainly not at the scale and pace that we're proposing to do it. And then the average time to negotiate a trade deal is 5 to 7 years. And in the extreme cases, like the EU-Mercosur deal, which has just been agreed, is 20 years. Now, I'm not suggesting it's going to take 20 years per deal, but it just gives a sense of the task ahead. And that means, you know, decades probably of disruption and uncertainty. Nobody, by the way, trades on WTO rules.
There was a rumour at one point that Mauritania did, but I gather they've now signed a trade deal or two.
Yeah, no, we were looking into Mauritania. I think that was us that said that, or me actually that said that. Actually, they also have a bilateral arrangements with their neighbours, but you know, every country trades ultimately with their neighbours first, and the WTO, what they call the WTO rules, are really there as a backstop. They're there as a safety net. But actually, in reality, every country, you know, has much more sophisticated trade relationships. But if the UK crash out of the EU, we really will drop down to that safety net, and that's unheard of for a G20, never mind a G7 country.
Is there anywhere, I mean, even outside the G20 and the G7, is there anywhere we can look to for I mean, whether it be positive or negative, the view, but it would be at least a precedent, something that might give us a flavour of the terms and conditions under which we'll be operating internationally?
Not to my knowledge. You probably have to look at sort of Venezuela or Syria or somewhere like that. You know, not to my knowledge.
And Venezuela is only temporarily excluded from Mercosur, isn't it? So they could actually be better off than us if they get their house in order.
I mean, possibly. I mean, you know, we should couch that. You know, I don't want to be sort of badged as Project Fear, but you know, we have to be realistic and we have to get real a little bit. To be honest, it's that stage in the game. Is that, you know, that most countries don't want disruption, and most countries want continuity with the UK. It's an important market, an awful lot to offer, two ways actually, but that doesn't preclude the fact that there need to be negotiations, and they will take a long time to get back to where we currently stand today.